Hey there, welcome to our Cozy Corner. Here we talk about all things game dev.
In this video, we'll talk about a few things that would have helped us a bunch if we would have known them before starting.
But first, let's get cozy. Number 1. Scope is your worst enemy. I know you want to create your big dream indie game, RPG, multiplayer, like World of Warcraft and all, but believe me, that will not be your first game. Start small, learn on the go, and have fun in the process, because if you start something big from the beginning, you might end up giving up at some point.
Number 2. Art should not be misleading and should represent the game and not oversell or undersell it. One thing us as designers kind of are bothered by most of the time is that we see things that in the end no player will actually notice. So lighting, the perfect hues, everything like that is actually not so important to the player because the smoothness of the game is so much more important. And frankly, they just focus more on emotion, on ease of use and understandability. So actually being able to understand what you are doing or how it's played. And art is supposed to support that in games and not be a standalone piece that actually doesn't sell your game or your product as for what it is and shouldn't be misleading.
Number 3. Completing a project is a skill. Bear with me. It's very important to finish your project because many game developers do not complete their games. And it's something that you need to learn by polishing it, adding UI, adding sound effects, publishing it. Basically, creating an indie game is a one-man army task, and stick to your projects till the end.
Number 4. Design should be an art choice. No, style is a design decision. Style is a design decision. So one thing that I noticed while creating games is that you can't just go for a trend that you just saw somewhere and create and use that for anything that you're working on. It just needs to fit with the theme of the game. So if you do a horror game and then you just out of the blue will go for pastel colors and flowers and all, it will not really represent the game, and therefore you kind of need to choose wisely which one you will do because it communicates the style and the intention of the game directly.
Number 5. I hate to break it to you, but your first few games will suck. But it's because you're at the beginning and you create games that you like, that you find creative and you want to play yourself. But it doesn't mean that others would like to play it as well. So basically you have a prototype created and you publish it and you expect people to enjoy it from the get-go. But because it's your very first few project, you don't quite understand the user journey or experience or exactly what users are looking at in a game. Even though you're an experienced gamer, it's something we learn while doing games. Don't expect fame for your very first few games. But this doesn't mean that it's worthless creating those games, because you shouldn't underestimate every learning you get from these indie games. With every one that you create, you learn something new that will just add up to the functionality and creativity of your game that will put you on the map.
Number 6. Also, in our case, it usually is that the first 10 versions will never really be the ones that you should stick with. Because frankly, the first time you iterate an idea, it will not be the best, and if you are open to keep trying and developing the idea according to also your teammate or the developer himself, you will be able to come up with better ideas along the go, just figuring out what to best do. I learned this in uni. I used to come with one thing that I was so proud of to my teachers, and they would always just shoot it down instantly because they would understand right away that it was one of the first things, and they would go and say, no, you go home, you try 100 more versions, and then you come back. And I did that, and it usually turned out to be a much better idea in the end. And so it really is worth it. And one small extra tip when you do these things and are working with a developer, like in my case, it's very good for them to also get a layout of all the assets you planned placed in the places that you would like to see them, because otherwise they will just get bits and pieces of it and have to imagine where they go, and that doesn't really work. So yeah, give them an idea of what you're expecting.
Number 7. You don't need to be the best in everything. When I started game dev, I wanted to publish this game on the Android store, and in the end I managed to publish it there, but it took me 6 months. I tried to be the best in game development, architecture, coding, game design, asset, audio creating. I was even creating my own music back then. It's something I wish I knew before starting, is that you can rely either on others for art or for code, that you can also find art online and sounds for free to download. You can only be truly proficient in one area, because that's where you will shine and all the others can be covered by somebody else. It's not impossible to be good at everything, but you learn it with time, not everything at first. Though, an advantage for those who have been trying everything is that you can put yourself in the shoes of your artist. If you create the code and the art, and now you're just focusing on the code and you have an artist by your side like I have now, you can just know how to integrate the assets of the artist in your game, and you can also request specific assets. So it's good to know, but not try to be skillful in everything because you will just end up being overwhelmed.
Number 8. Juice is joy. Usually we underestimate the finishing touches when we have a game because we might be tired of it or we might not really have inspiration on how to make it even better. But sometimes these small iterations, the bubble effects, the particles, the lighting, the shine, any type of movement in the scene will enhance the game from being a boring 2D or 3D thing into something that is actually exciting to look at. And so do not underestimate them and always give yourself time to play with the visuals and give interesting effects and make the game come alive.
Number 9. The player doesn't know your intention. It's very important as a developer to guide the players as how you want the game to be played, because players will try their best to play it in their own way, and we shouldn't assume that they know, because the player will never feel like it's their fault for the game being buggy or for them going in the wrong direction. If you have an open world game, you cannot expect the player to follow the road. If you put trees and houses on the side, they will want to explore. And in the end, if the game breaks, that's on the developer, not on the player who just thought he's able to explore. So for me, at first, it sucked to always go on and try to make tutorials because it's just boring. You want to create the game itself and not guide the player. But believe me, it helps. And if you don't want to create difficult tutorials, for me, this really helped. Just few texts there and few visuals that show you how to play the game, and if not, just put them in the description, but it's important to guide the player.
Number 10. Tools matter less than you think. So generally, there are so many possibilities of creating art, especially digital. We tend to think that the one we use will be the determining factor of the quality of our art. But it's not the tool, it's how you use it. And if you do not have the skills, you can have the most expensive high-tech version of it. The tool cannot help you because, frankly, you can only create with your own capabilities, and therefore practice makes perfect. But you do not need to waste money on a bunch of programs or applications that could fix your problem when you just need to learn to draw. We would think that the only options would be the expensive ones like Photoshop or Procreate, but you can just go for free tools and start there. I mean, of course they have limitations and you would want to use something more high-end at some point, but start off with the easy free ones like Fire Alpaca. That's how I did it as well. And it helps you a lot because it gets you acquainted to the idea of digital art without giving a bunch of money and then realizing that, oh damn, this is so overwhelming, I don't want to do it. We hope these 10 things will help you in your journey.
And if you're already an experienced game designer, well, I'm sorry for you, and please let us know how many of these things have you encountered on your journey.
Check out all the other videos that we created because they're all about game dev and all that fun stuff. And also join our Discord channel because that's where we connect artists and developers to create better products.
See you in the next one.
Bye!
In the Dream Game... Dream
Game? Sorry, I laughed. I hope, no, we know.